Yes, sir. We up in here. What's up, Dave? So, bro, let me click that on you. You can see him. Dave be like old Dave, man. Dave be showing up and showing out. Appreciate your support, Dave. What's going on with you? To answer your question, today been pretty busy, but yeah, it's been cool though, man. You know, I just want to make sure I got time to jump on here. I got my man. We're gonna go by all of our semis. We're gonna focus on that.
Yeah, that
Okay.
works.
All right. Got my man all about semis in the building, and
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna learn some stuff today. You know, this is we got a lot of stuff. Y'all seen the title? You know, we talking about the own authority getting started. Has there been any complications? The good, the bad, the ugly. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get into it. And I want y'all to check out his channel, by the way. He do have a channel, you know what I'm saying, where he actually shared just about all this information already, but you know what I mean? We need to get your channel here too. I need to figure that out. I'm gonna try to figure
Yeah,
that out.
reiterate some
Yeah,
things. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Yes,
Go ahead and
sir.
introduce yourself, man, before we go on and get the chopping up, man.
Yeah, well, I think you did a good job of covering it, so I'll just add on to it a little bit.
Okay,
So,
okay.
what I mean? It's, most of the viewers know me by QDZ, the double easy, all
Yes,
about
sir.
semis. And, you know what I mean? I'm just like Lean, I just try and put out good information about, the trucking industry. And um, I just recently started my own authority. So, sharing those hurdles and things that I've encountered. So other than that, I'm just trying to add to the community, if you will. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Y'all have any questions along the way as we go? Ask some of these questions because, like I said, it's that's me and him. I'm gonna say we've been connecting since like, man, we both first started on the YouTube thing.
Yeah, pretty
Which,
much.
yeah, which at this point been over a year ago,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I seen him go from. We could even touch on Landstar. He was at
Yeah.
Landstar. That's
Yeah.
where he was at before he got his own authority, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, we've been connecting since, man. So I seen it from the beginning, and
Yeah.
yeah, I like
Yeah.
to share my little piece. The reason I'm gonna start out with me first. It's not about me. It's about you guys. It's about
Hmm.
him. But the reason I'm gonna start with me first to give you a compare and contrast. So when I first started my own authority, it was 2016, and mine was I had to put down $3,500. To be honest, I think my total, bro, was like 12 to 14 grand. Like real talk, I was scared of that number. I'm like, what's that number? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't want that one. And then well, I didn't focus on that one. I'm saying 35 down, and then it was 3,500 down, and then $969 a month. Now what I learned through you, honestly, Cooley, what Cooley told me about his was sort of like yours.
Hmm.
Um, I just didn't know the total number. Cooley was just like, yeah, I have to put this down and then this much a month. Then
Right.
when you hit me up, you was like, Lane, hey, bro, now I let you buy something. But when you told me yours, I'm like, hey, okay, look.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All right,
Yeah, dog.
that's a lot.
Um,
But I'm going to let you
yeah.
tell you from there. How much was yours? I just told how much mine was.
Mine was 27 grand. And um actually it was it's actually went up because I had to add like trailer interchange and things like that. So it was like some in that high 29, 28, 29,
Okay.
and every bit of 21, 22 a month. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So yeah, I would have happily took 935, a month. But with that being said, um, I think that's a lot of that is untalked about because a lot of guys get to that point and they go through all the paperwork, they go through all the getting the authority, the DOT, and they get to that point and it's a shell shock and they realize they can't go past that.
Mhm.
So my advice from what I've learned is to people that's thinking about that is to get that DOT number first because you can't even shop insurance unless you have a DOT now. So
Mhm.
it's like they won't even talk to you. Like agents be like, "Where's your DOT?" You know, be like, "Oh, I don't got it yet," or "You got to call back with that DOT," because they use that information that you put in to give you the quote. You see,
Right.
but yeah, man, yeah, they definitely knocked me over the head. Part of that, me being in Florida too. Are they? Somebody asked a question about authority.
Right.
Was it for me or was it for Lean?
I'm thinking he asking for you. You go ahead and answer though.
Okay, well, why I got my own authority? Well, the reason I got mine, well, number one, again, I was with Landstar, and I was very happy at Landstar. And if you go to the channel and look at my videos, I always talk about how happy I was at Landstar, and I am, well, that I was at Landstar. The reason I did, because number one, I've always been trying to get to the next level in everything I did. But the way that I ran, it was like I'm running with Landstar and I'm doing 8-9 grand a week, you know, and I'm giving away 35% of that to them, for their cut. And it just got to the point where I was like, if I'm gonna run like this, I might as well have control of everything, and I might as well get 100% of my money and do my own thing, and have even more freedom, because you do have a lot of freedom at Landstar, but you know, it just made sense, and then I was in a better position to grow, because another thing I'm thinking about is getting to the box truck segment, and
Mm.
it'll be easier for me to just add trucks at this point to do that, to grow in that area. But that's a whole nother video, a whole nother thing. But that was one of the reasons. And talking to Lean, believe it or not, I bounced a lot of things off of him, and got his opinion on how he was doing and what he thought. And he gave me a lot of good nuggets about um, just working on, for himself, and just having that control, and it just seemed like it just made sense, man. It really just made sense for me. So that was the go behind for me with that.
Okay. Yeah, I just short mine a little short. Mine was short. On my end, it was mine was kind of like necessity in a sense, as far as I was local, hauling gas. I was contracted on. I was leased on, and they dropped the rates. And when they dropped the rates, it was a lot of different factors. When they got down, I was like, if this number get paid, you know what I mean? Like, I think
Right.
that, yeah, I think it was down to like 2,500 a week or something like that. And
Yeah.
and I was just saying, like, was it horrible? No, but it was just
Yeah.
like my life on the line
Yeah.
with this. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
and so I decided that, well, if this is what I'm gonna do, let me at least go on this route and try this. And
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
recognize, like, the funny thing about it, like, I don't mind admitting my lack of knowledge with it when I first started. That's what this channel is about. We all learn, learning, share, pass on information. So when I first started, man, um, I had no idea about, like, the concept of, yeah, I had a DOT number and stuff like that, but I didn't really fully grasp that mean that I'm literally a company that I can bring somebody under my wing as,
Mm-hmm.
like, when I lease under somebody else. Like, I'm no
Mm-hmm.
different at that point than Landstar or anybody else.
Right.
I
Right.
didn't like it because I was so focused on just succeeding. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, everything is new. Flatbed was new. Like, I didn't know how to strap. I ain't know nothing, man. I just jumped.
Right.
I didn't know nothing about factoring. When I was getting decals on my truck, this guy asked me about factoring. Like, what factory company you use? I said, what's that? I'm getting the decals on my
Right.
truck. I didn't even have any idea. I like, looking back at it now, seems
Yeah.
ridiculous that
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
how clueless I was.
Yeah. And hence the reason that you said, when me and you had a conversation a while back, and like DCR just said, yeah, man, trucking insurance in Florida is stupid crazy, but that's Florida. But the one good thing is that the older the authority get after a year, 2 years, those numbers start to really drastically come down. So I can go back and renegotiate those rates. But one of the things you said, Lean, was we had a conversation about why we don't recommend jumping from company to owner authority or
Yeah.
owner operator right out of the hole from, company or, whatever. And those are the reasons, man, exactly what you said, because there's a lot you don't know, and I said on my channel, there's guys that do it, that have done it. And like I said, I always point to you like, hey, you did it, you made it work. So it is doable. But, looking back, man, it's a lot of things, I wish I had known that I didn't even think about, that I would have needed to know, like factoring or lanes, or, I didn't even think about that. It was like, okay, what they mean a lane, 'cause I'm like, what is that?
Well, can you, first of all, for me, can you sit your camera somewhere because you're shaking on our end? Like you.
Yeah, let me see if I can,
And
let me see, man. Let me see.
You do that now, because I want you to get into that lanes, because if you're not familiar with it, if you just been working for a company or something like that, when someone says lanes, like what that means, like everyone don't really know. So I want you to explain that, what that means when you say that. Oh yeah,
Okay.
there you go. Let me get this in here. As y'all come in, hit the like button, please. You know what I'm saying? It helps the
Hold on.
channel. Okay, go ahead, do your thing.
Let me get set up here. I thought I was in a good position.
Yeah, your position was good. It was just that your phone was moving.
The phone was jumping on you.
Yeah.
Right,
So let me tell y'all like this. I would say like this. Something I came up with. Honk your horn before you hop in my lane. You feel me? What I'm saying? Hit the like button, baby. Appreciate it. As you come in, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Really appreciate it. It's gonna give out some real good information here. Thanks again, Dave. Let me see what he's saying. Let's see what he's saying real quick. So, do you guys think
I'm glad he asked that question. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see.
I'm glad he asked that question. Yeah.
Go ahead, take it, man. Well, first of all, let's for the people who want to understand the lanes real quick, explain that, and then we'll go to Nevada's question.
Okay. Well, the lanes basically are the areas of freight you're running and where you're going. And each lane has different freight, depending on the time of the year, time of season. So let's say Florida to Chicago could be a lane, Philly to Florida, or Maryland to, Indiana, those are different lanes. But it goes far as breaking it down even more, as when you start talking about Midwest, those lanes, a lot of flatbed lanes. You got, when you start getting into Texas and the Colorado, and, different lanes require different equipment for different times of the season, whereas you could do a lot of dry back and forth through the Southwest, but then in the summertime, reefers are popping in the Southwest lanes. So that's where that equipment thing comes in. But yeah, basically lanes are just the areas that you're running, and also obviously lanes play a big part on what the rates are for that lane, or those areas, because different rates are going to be different for the different lanes you run in.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with Nevada because he asked both of us. So I'll start real quick.
Yeah.
To me, Nevada, it's to me at first it was overwhelming. It was like trying to not just hold on to it, but I didn't recognize. Okay, so check this out. I started out with a DOT. Tell you how it's relevant. So when I started out with a DOT, I'm start this with you, but they don't actually audit you. I'm not saying that they can't. They just usually don't really do the after the people with the MC. Mm-hmm. So I was a DOT. I was running DOT for 2 years. Never had an audit. When I got my MC, within about 8 months, I got an audit. You know what I'm saying? So it's because that is the fuel tax and the crossing state lines, like all that is what they're auditing you on. And just I didn't know, like I got audited and they was like, hey, well, yeah, so going back to this day and like a random day, October 20th, we want to know where you went, your bill of lading, stuff like that. You had to keep up with all that stuff. Luckily, I had a partner that was already doing it, and he warned me of that. But just like keeping up with paperwork for those reasons, a driver file. There's something that people don't really talk about. So driver file, you're supposed to have a driver file yourself, meaning that you got to have an application on and your file and all that. So if you bring anybody on, you're supposed to keep theirs on for like, I think it's 7 years. You got to keep their, I believe I'm right on that. You know, I don't hire anybody anymore, but you got to keep that on, stuff like that. So the paperwork for me, it was overwhelming at the beginning, and until you can kind of find your system of how you're going to do things. But yeah, when you just start out there, that's why I don't recommend going from company person to authority, because you just start out there, start hearing about different things like if the 2290, just a whole, you know, just different things like that. It's like it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. In a sense, it's not that you're not listening, but it's you don't know what they're talking about. You jump out there and it can be, but go ahead, you can answer that.
Yeah, well, I mean, to really just touch on that, to answer the question directly, I had a guy yesterday, Landstar guy actually, that asked me, he said, man, why'd you leave? You know, you got to do all that paperwork now, and is it worth it? And what I'm finding out is I've heard a lot of guys talk about, oh, you got to do all this, you got to do all that. I beg to differ. I don't think that it's much at all. And I surely don't think that it's worth the $2,500 extra a week that I was giving away that they were doing.
So you was giving up $2,500 a week?
Is what it equated to, you know, because the reason I come with that figure is this. So just quick numbers. If I was doing $8 to $9 grand a week, 35%, you do the math. You see? Yeah. So, you know, it equates to about $3 grand a week, you know, that I was giving away. You telling me follow my IFTA and some, you know, tags maybe at the end of the year. There's a few other little knickknacks worth that a week. I mean, that you talk about $8 grand a month that just, you know, but what I'm finding out is that the initial paperwork is what's hard. It's not the managing the paperwork from that point, especially for a 1 truck, 2 truck guy, you know, because like you said, you set up your driver file, you set up your BOC3, you set up your IFTA, you know, once you got all that stuff into place, the rest of it is literally, you're not filling out paperwork every week. You keeping track of your BOLs, you're keeping track of your you're going to keep track of your BOLs anyway, because you got to get paid. So unconsciously, you're doing that anyway, whether you're a company or not. And I'm speaking to the guys that have their own truck that are leased on. You got to submit that paperwork at the end of the week anyway, you know? So at the end of the day, I told the guy, when I broke it down to him, he was like, well, when you put it like that, I guess it does make sense. Absolutely. But I think the paperwork for 1 truck, 2 truck, depending on your how organized you are, I think that it's very, very manageable. I don't think that it's overwhelming. Like Lean said, when you get to that point where you're hiring people and then you've gotten, you know, several, now it starts to get that gray area, because now you have to keep up with a lot more as far as their driving records, and if you got to make sure that their medical cards ain't expiring, and you have to kind of be on top of that. So, and even with that, I really don't think it's that terrible, but the paperwork, I think it's really not, it's not bad as people made it sound. I don't, but I'm not finding that it's a big problem at all right now at the stage I'm at.
And I'll say this, you and Vada, both of y'all are very organized individuals. So I think when you extremely organized like that it's you'll be all right. I said that way. You'll be all right. For me, I'm not as organized, just to be honest. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm surprised to hear that.
Yeah, like what happens is I catch up. What happens with me is I'll do something like this. I could be having a week going on, so that I should have, and I'd be like, I'll do it on Friday night, or I get to it because usually Sunday I'm kind of chilling. And then I put it together, but I feel like really the best way to do it is whatever it may be, just do it. Because I only want to, let me state this. It's not a lot, right? When I say a lot, it's not really a lot of paperwork like that. If there's every quarter, 2290 is once a year. You get your plates once a year. So these things, it's not like you're doing it once a month.
Right.
You know?
Right. And I'm giving away almost $8,000 for that service a month. You know, and this is essentially what guys are doing. They're giving anytime you're, and I'm not knocking it because it's not for everybody, but anytime you're giving up, I'm sorry, Lee, I didn't mean to cut you off either, bro.
No, you good, go ahead.
But anytime you're giving away any percent of your money, I don't care if it's 10%, I don't care if it's 15%, you got to look at that value of that you're giving away. Is it worth the service that you're getting on the back end? Because you are still running that truck. So with my 35% that I was giving away, you got to remember, after all that, the little bit of cut that I did get, I still got to pay my taxes out of that. I still got to pay my fuel out of that, and then look at what the profit margin is going to be. And I can tell you this, keeping that 35% and doing my own paper, my insurance payment a month, that 35% covers that for 1 week. You see?
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that when you jump into that next level, you got to really think about what it's worth. Because the guy told me in the same breath, he was like, man, I feel like what they're doing is, that's worth it for them to deal with the headache. And I left it alone because, I didn't want to really get into the debate with the conversation about it, but that was what he placed the value on. And I don't think that it's, the paperwork is bad. It's not that bad, especially if you can be organized.
Well, he asked right here, he said, how long do you have to keep your records? Roughly across the border. I think he meant across the board, possibly to name off those.
Hang on a second. I popped out of the screen. Okay, there you go. I guess that was a check that was coming up. Across the border, as far as I know, I think it's still on along that lines that Lean said is around 7 years, and I think it's all depending though. Like I think your personnel files, you have to keep close to that 7 year mark, and I think we'll have to get back to you on that personnel side. But I know that some of the stuff is like 2 years on the personnel. Depends on what it is. It really depends on what it is. Your personal fuel and your taxes, I think you have to keep those like 2 to 3 years for your IFTA and all that kind of stuff. But I think your personnel ones are going to be your longer files that you gotta hold.
Yeah, I think that is a good question. I honestly can't think of anything off the top of my head that you have to, because even like stuff that I just mentioned, the insurance, all that stuff, that's renewing once a year. I think it's more of stuff like I don't know how long you got to keep your, logs electronic, so they kind of keep that for yourself. I'm trying to think of stuff that you have to keep. I can't really think of anything that I didn't already mention, to be honest. So sorry, Cal, on that one. Let me see what else we got. He said, please do allow me to continue playing Teacher's Pet. What part of the process and stuff? First of all, you ain't playing Teacher's Pet. Y'all hit the like button, please, to help the show expand. Let me see. Part of the process is the hardest in regards to getting your authority. Also, okay, so I'll start here. The hardest part for me, I pay somebody. I start there. I pay somebody. I was on the cheaper end. I'm gonna say that because at that time I didn't know it was only $300. Okay, and I think this is countrywide, not just in Texas. We use yours $300 too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So your authority is only $300. You can do this on your own. Use the platform we on. Go ahead. Say it again.
It was about $350 for me.
Okay. Use a platform that we on, which is YouTube. They got videos about it. They'll walk you through it. It's not. I think you can do it all, man, in like half an hour at the max. I don't know. It's not that long. But I paid $400 total, so I really didn't get ripped off. It was like they only charged me like $100 really. The hardest part for me was getting insurance. That's the hardest because you're taking. I end up telling all about semis. I say, hey, look, this is what you do, because he was taking a bunch of phone calls. I remember one day he was on the phone. He's like, hey, hold on, Lee. Hey, let me hit you back. I say, let me tell you. You know, I let him do his thing. I say, check this out. This is what I started doing. That's what I told him, because I've been doing it 5 years now. And I said, and I've been staying with the same insurance company, by the way, for about the past 3. Like my insurance now, I give out my numbers real quick. Mine is I just renewed. It was $1,900 down, and it's like $750 a month. But yeah. So what I did was I told him, I said, look, have them email you, okay, and then copy and paste, and paste the same thing, because they ask you the same stuff like what's your MC number, DOT number. They ask you how long you've been driving. They ask you for your VIN number for your truck and your trailer if you got both of them. I forgot now because I don't have to do it no more. It's already on my file with my insurance. But you do that, and then you wait. With some of them, it's 2 days before they give you a quote, and then they'll come back they'll promise you everything, by the way, on the phone or at the beginning. Oh yeah, I can get you a good rate, this and that. Then they come back and say, well, yeah, the best I got is Progressive at 40 million. Nah,
it seemed like that though.
Yeah, but what was your hardest part? Mine, to sum it up,
pretty much the same.
Insurance took the long time, and it was more tedious, and trying to find who we're going with. Actually, if you don't mind getting into the structure of your insurance, because I never heard anything like that for other people who don't know.
The hardest part for me was insurance as well too. I feel like the paperwork was a big, wasn't that big of a deal. Getting my tags was a little difficult in Florida, just because of the process. And what made it hard was that here, for semi tags, you can't go to the regular DMV and get your tags like you can do in a lot of other places. And there's not a lot of readily available contractor offices that handle it, because you have some places or some states that have subdivisions of tag agencies. They're like licensed tag agencies that can do it. Well, there's none of that here, and you only can go to Tallahassee, Florida. It's the only place you can go. I don't care if you live in Miami. I think there's like 1 or 2 places in Miami. Otherwise, they got to come down here to get tags in Florida, which is a whole nother story. So that was a little bit tough getting the tag. I ended up driving to Tallahassee, which was about 3 hours away, and I had to make sure I had everything in order, because if you forget something, it's a wrap, and luckily I was able to reach out to my insurance company because something was missing, but they were able to send it to me. But in Florida, tags was a little bit tough. But over that hardest part, again, insurance. And for me, it was kind of the same thing with what you were saying, Lean. But I think in my case, it was even harder because, number one, I was new. And in Florida, there's not a whole lot of companies that deal with new authorities, that insure new authorities in Florida. And a lot of them was telling me, hey, man, if you lived in Georgia, just one state over, man, I got 20 people right now I could sign you up with, probably cheaper. Or if you lived here, and I'm like, man, but it didn't really change those numbers too much. But to answer your question, I ended up luckily finding a good company called Canal, and Canal it's been working out so far. I mean, so far I'm liking them. I haven't had any issues with them, and they basically charge you based on how many miles you drive. They ask you what you think your average is going to be, and I think I put my average in there at like around 2,000 or 2,200 a week. And basically, if I do that, then I'm paying my set rate, whatever that rate is. And if I don't do that, then my insurance is a lot cheaper. So, it could be 1,400 one month, or it could be $2,000 one month. It could be 1,500, or it could be $2,000. But $2,000, 22 is the highest I'm going to pay. But the cool thing is, as you guys know, I take a lot of time off. And if I decide I don't want to run the truck, let's say that month, then my insurance is only $500, for the month.
Something different.
Give or take. Yeah. So, and it's a new platform that they said that they've been rolling out for a lot of new authorities to try and help guys out. And so far it's been working out for me.
So I want to throw that out there to you guys that that's new or thinking about it. Reach out to them, because that's something I've never heard. I told them that this whole you don't run your insurance is cheaper. It's by the mile. It was, if you go with this number, it's not really confusing once explain it at the top. It's just I've always been dealing with some flat. Nevada. Go ahead.
No, and I'm just saying, and what they'll do is they'll give you a device to plug in your OBD, and that's how they track your miles or whatnot. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Nevada, I understood what you meant when you was like driver's log. I'm reading it, of course, now. If the BOL, to me, it was like I said, for the audit purposes, I got it easy is what I was explaining, because my friend had to go into the office. Like he had to go down there and tell them to go in. I didn't. It was pre this whole, for me, I didn't have to go in though. So mine was simple. They do give you 30 days. Some people are scared of audits. Let me do say that. You have, I think it was minimum 30 days to get them whatever they needed. So the BOL definitely is something that you want to hang on to. Your logs, like I said, your logs is it's just something you keep record on through. I just keep trucking. I'm not advertising. I can care less specifically, but your logs will be electronic, so they actually keep records of that for you. So that's really nothing you're really keeping besides, I would say, BOL and possibly rate confirmations. They didn't ask me for that. I don't know if they will ask you for that. Hey guys, this his channel right here. I'll put in the link, so just click on it. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you for giving us your time, man. It is Sunday. You wheels off. Hit the like button. Show us some love around here. Okay, let me see. I spent 3 to 4 hours reading the instructions to file 2290. Filled out and then mail it in. New truck, didn't realize it wasn't required for 90 days. New purchase. Okay. End up file online. Let me see.
And it don't take that long either, man. You can do it online. You ain't got to mail it in, and it's instant. And actually now the IRS just started taking credit card payments for 2290 as of like the last couple months. So
and on my end, I actually just did my 2290. I've been using some company online called Green Tax. I've been using them for I think since the very first year. And theirs was they charged $10 for the service. It's $9.77. I just do it online, and because I go back every year, I just pretty much hit same information, and I get my 2290 done in about 5 minutes.
Same thing I do.
For anybody that's interested in that. Remember the value is in the replay. Bigger channels at 100K. Don't pull more than 100% here to add value. Okay, well, it's encouraging. I got you. But one day, hopefully one day, 100,000. That just seems so far-fetched around here.
I know, right?
I always thought insurance was flat rated. Exactly, Therese Trucker. That's it. I did too until he it's another YouTube. I won't mention his name because I don't know if he put his information out there, so I won't mention it. But he said he had the same insurance that All About Semis here got, and I told him, like, it was funny because when All About Semis, he was like, "Hey, I got this one," because I remember when you first called me, you was like,
I was skeptical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you first called, you say, "Hey, man, hey, man, I done got close like 30,000." Right? Then one of them hit you, so people told you like 30,000. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
40. Progressive was like 45. Yeah, it's crazy, dog. Like I was like, yo, they got the game messed up for real.
Man, yeah, 40. I'm like 30, 40,000. I'm like, man, because I remember at that point, I'm over here like, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, yo, I think Progressive told me that, and it was some more other company, man. They was like 40, 42. And I was like, wait a minute, man. What happened to the 20s? You know what I mean? I'm looking for the 20s, like, yo, what happened to the 20s? And then
Yeah,
that's where I reached out to a cat that it was another friend of another guy that it was. I actually got this agent. He out of New York, and I'm gonna tell you that agent. The actual agent is called Cornerstone, and my insurance is Canal, but this Cornerstone guy deals with them, man. And man, he was a godsend, man. I mean, he still now, if I need anything, like I gotta add my trailer, I call him, hey man, what do I need to do for this? Oh, send me the VIN number and this, that, and third. I'll put it on your policy for you. Boom. I ain't even got called Cornerstone for anything. But he shopped around too, and he was like, yeah, I think it's gonna be your best route. Like he went back and checked for me because I was like, let's make sure before I pull the trigger on this, And yeah, he went back, and so yeah, they was trying to knock me over the head, man, for real.
yeah,
I saw 50s, saw them 50s and them
50?
45s. Yeah, I
I
had
don't
saw
remember
one,
you
but
guys.
yeah, I said they crazy, man.
I can tell
Yeah.
y'all right now, I would be leased on somewhere or a company guy if I if I was dealing with numbers like that. To me, I must say it ain't worth it. Period. I don't. It just ain't. You know what I mean? We got to be some extreme. I got a guaranteed contract for 5 years at $300,000. I mean, it got to be something ridiculous to pay that kind of money.
Right, man. And that's kind of where I was, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I was almost like Landstar hadn't dropped me yet. So I was like, look, I'm about to call up, like, is that file still active? I got one message pending.
Right.
Because, man, I was ready, like, oh, well, this might not go the route the way I think it's going,
Well, Terrence Trucker, I do want to say that All About Semis did tell me at the time that they were new. I think at the time it was like 8 months in, right? It was just some program they're trying, right? Okay. All right.
That's correct. They were just starting that program, like they're about 8 months in. So yeah.
Okay. Shoot, I'm paying $8,300 a year for physical damage bobtail. Yeah. But hey, Nevada, you do have a truck that's what's a 2022. All About Semis. You got a 2022 though.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a bad boy. It's a bad like that in the picture. That's that truck, man.
Yeah, man. Hey,
I think it's
God bless you, man.
For you to build
God
389,
bless you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, God bless you, boy.
Yeah. Let me see. I use Express Truck Tax for my 2290 and just re-up each year. It's only there. You go.
That's who I use too.
Okay. Okay. Look at you,
same
guys.
Yep.
Okay.
Same guys. They screwed me up last year though, man. But I got it worked out. They ended up costing me like my insurance. I mean, my 2290 went from $500 to $800 because they never sent the payment, and I didn't know the payment wasn't sent until IRS called me up like, "Hey, man, you owe some bread," and I'm like, "I owe y'all some bread." It's like, "We ain't get that 2290." I was like, "Yeah, I get it." And I got the paperwork that I filed it. I called Express Truck, and they was like, they don't know what happened. They can't tell me what happened, and it was filed, and so I had to pay the late fees on it. So that's what got me, But other than that, I had been using them when I was with Landstar. I was because even with Landstar, I still got to pay my own 2290, and they had been good prior to that. So other than that, I hadn't had no issues with Express Truck Tax. Yeah.
So let's get to this, man. Y'all ask some questions because I'm gonna ask them some questions. Y'all ask some questions. So if y'all want to know, for the record, is what when you started your own authority, maybe April, May.
Actually, The end of May. So
End of May.
yeah, end of May. I mean, I went active on the 6th. My insurance went active on the 6th of June,
Okay.
but I started the process in May. Yeah.
So yeah, y'all ask these questions. I'm finna get on in there. So, we hear a lot about on YouTube. A lot of people talk about this. I make 30 grand a week and all this other all these other extravagant numbers. You know what I'm saying? I'll be honest, I don't watch a whole lot. I to be doing some other things. I do try to keep up with a lot of different people though. But having said that, what are some of the things, the downside so far, if you have any? What has been some downsides to you? I'm not talking about long term right now. I'm saying just you and your experience in this past, I guess, month or two.
I can't really say that I had a whole lot of downsides, but what I will say I can consider a downside is the struggle of being new when it comes to brokers, finding the work. That was really tough, because most brokers want you to be 3 months, well, 30 to 90 days. And there's some that even say 6 months to a year. Like, I think Schneider and JB Hunt was talking like, I think it was either Schneider might have been like 6 months. JB Hunt might have been like 90. Certain brokers, man, they just won't work with you, and you gotta find the ones that will. So it was kind of tough, finding those brokers. That was the only I can say down part of it for me, because I didn't consider the paperwork and the process a down part. I just considered it literally just that, a process, and I knew that was going to come and pass. But the actual actions and the activities that go along with actually getting out there running was really tough as a new authority. And finding, the equipment, trailers and stuff like that to be able to, because remember I called you up like, hey man, I got this going on, but I ain't got no trailer. So now not only I'm limited to the brokers I can use, I'm limited to the power only with the brokers I got, and depending on how much of power only they got, so that was a little hair pulling, but some kind of way that first week, man, I still managed to come out on top, but that was the only ones I can pretty much give you out there.
I'll say this. I remember Cooley when he was able to bless us with his lives every morning. Yeah, I took a little small shot at you, Cooley, but now I know he out there grinding. You know your thing, bro. But I remember he said, and I agree with him. The moment he said it, he said, if you don't plan to him, he didn't think that if you didn't plan on getting your own authority. I mean, if you plan on getting your own authority and not having a trailer, that's just not the route to go. And I agree with it then, because I came out with both. The difference is I came out and I rented mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I came out renting my trailer, but I still had one. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine what I would have done if I didn't have a trailer.
Right. And that was my goal too, bro. I had planned to rent, but what I didn't foresee is with the pandemic and people not having trailers. I mean, I had called everywhere. And it wasn't just me, because I was like, oh, I'll just go rent a trailer as soon as I get my insurance go active. I'm right at Penske, like what it is. Nobody had nothing, and I'm talking about Georgia, Maryland. I've called South Carolina, North Carolina, Idaho, Nebraska, you name it. I'm calling, like, because it wasn't about going to get it. I could get a power only to go wherever I needed to go, So nobody had them. I didn't foresee that part of it. I thought I would just be able to get out there and just rent a trailer. So luckily I had, Landstar, Amazon, and Conway under my belt already. So if it wasn't for them, man, I don't know. I'd have been burning through my savings trying to pay this insurance, But yeah, it was kind of scary there, man.
Yeah. Nevada asked, you still a one truck show, or you already start bringing on contractors?
Oh yeah, I'm still running one truck. I ain't even thinking about bringing on contractors, man, and nor do I want to. Not in the building process, because this here is a building process. You don't want to start bringing people under your authority when you're new like that anyway, because that's real risky, and you're still building a relationship. You still under you're still in that. Well, I'm still in the audit period, you know, so I don't need nothing to happen before that period anyway. And two, that plays a big part of your insurance too. And some insurance companies that you take on won't even let you bring in other contractors, because of the type of insurance that you got to have. They will allow you to hire employees now. That's a whole different ball game. They allow, I can buy another truck and put a driver in it, but I can't put contractors in that truck. So yeah, so that's a whole nother video for a whole nother time. But definitely still one truck show. Plan to be for a good little bit, unless something else changes. And like I said, I got different plans on how I'm going to expand, you know, my logistics business. But like I said, I want to go in the box and some other little things, and running local deliveries for people and things like that. You know, I want Rice Transport Systems to be just that, a system of different outlets. But that's a whole another thing in itself.
Well, I want to say, excuse me, I want to talk about that real quick. The contract, bringing people on and stuff like that. He just touched on one thing, and it's not that I'm trying to be what they call a Debbie Downer. I forgot the name for the dude, but I just like being honest. And the reason why I want to talk about this negative side for a second is only because I don't really see it talked about as much. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just like, but you'll get out here and you make all this money, this and that. And it's like, yeah, you can. What are some other sides too? Like, give the full picture. That's it. Just the full picture. So like what he just mentioned is some insurance companies will not even allow you to bring on another anybody under your authority that's not your employee out of 1099. Sometimes some of them's 3 months, some of them is an entire year, and then you got some they'll do within that year of you with them, but it can only be like 2 of them. So they restrict you on that. I'm gonna give you another thing that people don't talk about. When it's time to renew and you have, let's say, 3 other contractors on you, that's 3 times the money you got to pay, like right now. Okay, so to explain that, All About Semi said his was, we're going roughly 28,000, right? So that's 28,000, and you got 4 other people times 4, whatever that number is. I know it's over 100,000, so I think it's about 112, but that's 112,000 that their premium is going to be. That your 2,200 down payment. No, your down payment was how much? It wasn't down. It was a month.
About $7,000.
Down?
Yeah, it's about $7,000.
Oh, yeah. So then you're talking 28,000 down. Okay, so you got to put that down, and then you got to I'm going to say hope and pray for the sake of this conversation that these guys don't leave you. Like in the next 2 months, because your money gone. This is why people like Landstar and these other people take so much of the percentage. And we can get into that in a little bit. That's why they take so much of it, because no one wants to eat these costs. So yeah, having people under your authority is, don't get me wrong, it can be awesome. It can. I'm just saying the other side to that coin, you got to pay that money with your insurance up front, and then hope to recoup your money. What's going on, Great Freight? How you doing out there, brother? Y'all hit the like button for you all who just joined in. We talking to my man All About Semis, talking about new authority. Just started. Quick look refresher. At this point, about 6 weeks ago, officially, if that, I think you said June 6th, probably
yeah,
roughly. Okay, roughly 6 weeks ago, and we talking about that journey. But speaking of Landstar, because I did bring them up as far as the percentage they take and stuff like that. Now, I'm going to tell you something that I did not hear until, I think it was you told me. One day we was just chopping it up, and you said, yeah, man, I got to go get I think you said you got to go get something for them that they require like every 2 months, a PM. Oh, no, it was a PM. It was
the inspection.
An inspection? Okay, so I didn't know these things. Only thing I know about or heard about.
Every 120 days,
Cool. I just took a little shot at you, bro. How you doing, man? It was a good one, though, man.
Cooley in the building.
all I said, Cooley, all I said was when you was able to bless us. Hey, look, I'm the kind of person, if I can't say it to your face, Cooley, I shouldn't say it behind your back, all right? But I said when you was able to bless us with a live every morning, you know what I'm saying? You had dropped in that nugget about you can have your trailer when you come in. But but yeah, we know you're out there grinding, man. But yeah, back to Landstar. So what are some of these things that's not really talked about that they require you to do? Like you every 2 months, this or whatever it is.
They require you to pay your $22.90. They require you, because they'll pull your tags for that. They require you to get that 120 every 3.5-4 month inspection, right?
What's 120? Just for the it's 120.
That's your inspection. So where you would get a yearly, or some places call it an annual.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's their 120. Their 120, whatever you get done in that annual, that's what they want done. And they, on top of getting that done, so you can go past your inspection, then they still want you to physically write a record of maintenance report and then send that in as well, basically stating what you've done since you've had that inspection. You know what I mean? Or before you've had that inspection, they want to know. So if you change your oil every 30,000 or 40,000 miles, have you changed tires since your last inspection? Have you changed any of that stuff before, whatever has been done, they want to know about it. So what I did, that never changed for me. I always did my oil changes at the same time. If I put tires on, I put tires on there. But if I didn't do anything else on the 120, I didn't put it on there. But I filled it out and just kind of like you were saying about one of your forms, the information didn't change. You just left it, and I send that in every time. One of the other things they require you to do is there's classes they require you to take. Cabs class, hazmat classes every so often, internally through the company. And you can just get randomly picked, to do these courses, man. There's a lot of stuff that's not really talked about that they require you to do. Hence another reason I was like, I need to go ahead and make this move, man, because I'm okay with giving you your percentage, but then you're not going to stress me out about it now. That's just kind of where I feel like it gets to a point where you're doing so much for what you're paying out. But there's quite a bit of things. Cabs class is, like I said, it's literally a business safety class about you hauling your freight and things like that. Yeah.
I've never heard that stuff. That was new to me. You dropped on classes, hazmat classes. Even if you don't want to do hazmat, you still got to take it.
You got to take it. You got to take the hazmat class. You can't come to Landstar unless you got hazmat anyway. But you got to have it.
It's another nugget. Like I said, I've never heard that.
Yeah, every Landstar driver's gonna have it. Yeah, you got to have it. They were doing a pass on it when COVID hit because a lot of guys couldn't get it, because it couldn't go to DMV. So they passed it. But once they started lifting the restrictions, they was like, look, you got this amount of time to get this done now. And you need to keep us in the loop, because they knew each state, people live in different states, and states were going to be different. But they did put a cap on it, and they kept, sending them notifications out, like you had to get it. But yeah, every Landstar driver's got to have hazmat. And then they make you take the cabs class after you done had it. You have to take these cabs class, man. And it's, it's just another thing that comes with being leased on under their authority. I just recently did a video of talking about the pre-pass, in that normally I would get a lot of passes on the scales with the pre-pass with my Landstar pre-pass, and then I started getting pulled in. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the reasons they do it, because they want to, as far as the inspections, that's why, because they're trying to keep them scores down, because it's affecting them, as a carrier. But yeah, it's a lot of little hidden things that you got to deal with. For some people, it's not bad. It wasn't bad for me. My thing is, I just hated the inspections more than I hated anything else. It was just like I would go to the inspection place and the guy would be like, "Man, it seemed like you was just here, man." I was like, "Yeah, don't it?" You know what I'm saying? The only good thing was, and sometimes they would just pass the truck because they would just do it. But the only good thing is they pay for it. So
Okay.
yeah, if you pass. If you fail,
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
they come in for
I,
that bread.
I guess I can't blame them on that. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
gotta keep your
Mm-hmm.
truck, But
Yeah.
when I watched that video where you had mentioned, I think you said the DOT enforcement said that basically they recognized you was new and pulled you in, and
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was funny that you said that because no one ever told me this, right? What you said, but I remember when I first started my own authority, right? And it was like, man, I was doing hazmat. I wasn't getting pulled over like that. And they would actually go specific places because they knew like we had at that time we had certain terminals we go load up at. They gonna be at their location, of course, right? So you was always gonna come down like in Dallas. There's this road called Singleton that we have to go down. You always gonna come down Singleton. They're gonna be right there on the right hand side waiting on you. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna pull you in this and that. So they had just set up spots intentionally for that group. But on my end, when I got my own authority, it was like at the beginning, like the first year, they just pulled me over, man. Like I don't know, but I don't know how often it was, but it felt like one time I got put over like 3 or 4 times that year, and which I think was my first year. But after that, like it's been a minute, you know what I'm saying? It has, and I think that's because when that I don't know if they got this little quick system. You know what I'm saying? If any of y'all know, y'all let us know. I don't know, but
yeah, they can scan your, and you're going by, they scan your plate, and they in a split second, and then they'll pull you right in. She gave me the lowdown on it, and that's how that worked. She said, "Yeah, I ran your tag," and mind you, I had already got the bypass. They stopped me at the end of the ramp. I was getting back on the highway.
hey, all this on video. What was you using? Well, it don't even matter. He was using something where he actually had this stuff recorded, and I wanted to mention that because a lot of people say it's not that you think they're lying, but I'm saying you don't actually capture that moment.
Yeah,
and he actually put his whole DOT thing on. Did a video about it.
Yeah,
it was a lady over there checking you out, and then decided.
Yeah. That's the dash cam on the truck. That was the dash cam on the truck, bro. Right from the truck mouth.
Okay.
And she was really nice, man. She was real cool. She was really polite. Like I said, I mean, she gave me a lot of information off camera, and she was like, I don't generally do that. She was like, I usually just run a person if I see if they had it. And it's been fairly decent, I let them ride. But if I see it hasn't ever been done, then I'll, go ahead and make sure that they, they're up and up, So I was like, wow.
We're gonna tighten you up.
Yeah, I was like, wow. The guy that they had before me, man, if you look at that video, was a truck part next to me. They towed his joint, man. They told me that you can get it towed or whatever, but it ain't moving. I was like, man, so I won't complain, But yeah, they definitely put somebody out of service. Yep. Yeah,
but I want to. My bad.
No, you good, bro. You good.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to say to both Nevada and Cooley, yeah, congrats on both of y'all, man. I definitely think Nevada, he ain't told me this, but I definitely think he gonna be the way he just run his ship, him and his wife. I'm not gonna just single you out like that, man. You and your wife, y'all run y'all ship. And y'all keep up with them numbers, man. I can see you doing something. Let me see what he's saying. He said, "I'm the turquoise paid off truck house and growing babies debt free makes it possible for me a beautiful trailer to match the truck in the future." You go ahead, man. You gonna do it too, because like I said, you be out there on your grind. Y'all be out there on y'all grind. Congrats on the third. Talking to you there.
I appreciate it, Cooley. Hey, man, look, I appreciate the nuggets that you gave me, man, and I thought Lean gave me your number. I thought he did.
I did.
Yeah, I think he texted when we was on three-way, man. But
Yeah.
I got to go through and look back at it. But I appreciate the information, man. I appreciate that information you gave me about the reefers and whatnot. And yeah, so all that stuff was a detrimental help from both of you guys, man. Giving me that information to help me get to that stage. And I'm ready to make it do what it do now. You know what I'm saying? Just try and hang with the big dogs. Hang with the big dogs over there, boy.
Hey, Cooley not even going live because he over there just making moves. You know what I'm talking about? You got to put the business over the tube. I respect that and I get it. So yeah, those are the big dogs. I ain't the big dog. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Never thought I'd get a truck. So things do change. I wouldn't take the contractor approach. Other than capacity, I hire company drivers. Yeah, let me speak on me on just this part. On my end, I heard Dirty Broke say this before on his live. I don't manage people well. You know what I mean? I think on one end, I can talk to people. I feel like I can talk to people very well, but it's that cutthroat. I'm not that cutthroat. You know what I mean? And I feel like to be a successful business, to run it, you really let me say this. You don't have to be cutthroat, but somebody in your team got to be cutthroat. You know what I mean? Like I'm a sucker for the family excuses. Like I did have a guy working for me when I was doing gas, and I did have a guy under my authority too. On my second year, but he was a hard worker, so we didn't really have any issues. But the guy that was working for me doing gas, he started hitting me with because I knew the dude had like 6 kids. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah. So he started hitting me with that. It's like I had a hard time separating the.
Hey, I appreciate that, Nevada. Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir. Y'all who in here, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Come on, get the likes up. Appreciate you watching, tuning in. Hopefully y'all get some out of this. Y'all go subscribe. This is all about semis. He giving this personal business out here. He ain't got to share this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate it. But
yes,
yeah, he out here to help us all because I'm still learning too. I got a video I'll drop soon. Fleet owners need to have the mentality that they work for them. Drivers, not drivers, work for mentality. It comes naturally. Man, that's real.
Good.
That's real.
You need to drop that ASAP. You need to drop that ASAP for real. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. I'm gonna tell you what I learned also with this stuff. I learned that another part is bad, right? When you're dealing with numbers. So I'm just gonna start throwing out some numbers. So let's say you have a load going 200 miles and you negotiate a rate. Now you the person that's your own authority, whatever, but you got a guy that works for you, right? Like a company guy, whatever. I noticed for some of these people, they feel that they should not. Now I'm saying, let's say for example, you saying you're gonna get this much a day, but they feel like, hold on, you make how much? So based on how much you're making, how much you're negotiating, they feel like they pay should change. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just say for example, y'all agree that you're gonna pay them $1,500 a week, just flat. $1,500. You're gonna run how the lows I give you this and that. Y'all good. But then if they learn that in that week you made $5,000 gross, they feel entitled to say, well, hold on, man. If you making all that, we need to renegotiate this thing. Like, you're gonna bring this up because they're not thinking about the fact that they just spent $900 in diesel, even though they was doing all that when that tire blew out. Yeah, you got to handle that you got insurance on it. And I think that part comes. Hold on, real quick. You said we got bad audio. Who got bad audio? Nevada. Yeah, we gotta get the bad audio taken care of. Let me see. I'm gonna try to remove myself
because you sound good on mine.
Yeah, you sound good on mine too. That's why I wanted to make sure.
Only thing I seen you got choppy on me a couple times as far as your picture went choppy, but other than that,
Oh, you say not us. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. My bad.
okay,
I'm
boy,
not
you
you.
about to have us shut the whole
You
stream
know,
down.
man. I'm about, hey, get out of here. Come on back in up in here,
Yo,
man.
hey.
But this right here, let me go back to what he said though. I think that's dope though. When it right here. Thanks for coming and joining, Mike. Nevada, you're right about that. Think that your drivers or your business partners. This is real. How you treat people matters. I know. I was a company guy for years. I've been driving for 17 years, and it's been. I'm going into year 8 now. Yeah, year 8. But those first 12 years, I was working for somebody, and we all want to feel appreciated. You know.
And you know, I'm sorry, Lean, go ahead.
No, do your thing. Go ahead.
And you know what you saying that, Lean, again about, I guess I could have put that in my backdrop earlier. That appreciation is a big thing because what you guys may not know is I've only been driving 2.5 years. So
Oh,
let's think about that now.
okay.
Now we go
Okay.
go all the way back
There you
now.
go.
So so now with that being said, I went to school in 2018, came out of school, drove for Warner for 4 months, and I realized quick that one, I wasn't appreciated as I felt like I should have been
Mhm.
as a driver. You know, of course they're a mega carrier, but then I also realized it had to be a better way to this. I knew zero about the trucking back then, and then from there I went to another company and worked for them about a week. Company out in Texas called Boakley, and drove for Boakley. They do a lot of reefer refrigerator freight. Drove for them for 1 week. So after 5 months in, I was like, you know what, this ain't it. And I flew to Chicago, leased a truck, a 2019 Volvo, brand new. I got it some video links in one of the videos when in that process, in my Warner process on my old channel. But I flew to Chicago, bought a 2019 Volvo, leased it. That was my first truck as an owner operator, paying a stack a week for this truck. And but my first paycheck was like $1,800, which was huge from my Warner days. And from that point, I didn't look back. And then I turned around and left that company after about 2 months and went and bought my truck that I am in now. And and came back to Florida and worked for another company. I worked for Suntech. If anybody remember Suntech, they got bought out by Evans. And
Okay, I didn't know that.
yeah, but Evans bought them out. Well, E-Transport, Evans, all the same company. But I worked for them for about a year, and then I went to Landstar. But yeah, you it's amazing what the unappreciation will push you to do, you know, and it pushed me in my ignorance, you know, to go ahead and jump out there like that. So I think it's very important that especially considering how hard drivers are to keep, that
Mhm.
you make your drivers feel how they need to feel. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because at the end of the day, don't nothing move without them, you know. And a lot of these mega
Mhm.
carriers don't get that, man. They don't see it. You know, some of the small carriers don't do it. With Cooley say we almost did the same route. Yeah, man. Really, we gonna have to catch up with that story, man. Yeah, yeah, man. I went from Suntech to yeah, man, to Landstar. And the crazy thing about it, Suntech hired me in, not to jump off, but Suntech hired me in. And when I bought my truck, because I was leasing another truck when I went to Suntech actually, and then I bought my truck. Don't you know when I went back to lease, they said, wait, you only been driving a year at that time. They was like, we gotta let you go because you supposed to have 2 years in. I was like, but I've been rolling with y'all. I've been rolling with y'all for a year already, you know? And they kicked me out, man. And then when I went to Landstar, they called me back, like, you still want to come back? And I was like, nah, you know. He was like, well, we see you was a really good driver, hence back to what we're talking about, and you were really good, you were excellent. You know, we looking at your record on your timing, and like, no, you know, it's cool. I don't want to deal with that. But a lot of companies, man, almost every company I worked for speaking for myself, that I worked for out of school, I felt like treated me like I was a number, period. I was a number. Bulkley, they they didn't treat me like I was a number, but they didn't care about my concerns. When I would bring up something that was like, well, this is kind of how we do things. I'm like, okay, well, but it wasn't until I left that they tried to talk me into staying. But every company I worked, only had about 3 treated me. Suntech was pretty decent though, but I was an owner operator technically. You see what I'm saying? So I had more of a mouthpiece by the time I got to Suntech. But other than that, man, these companies, bro, yeah, they really do treat you like your number, man. They really do.
I piggyback off of that. Every company I worked for, every single one of them was a number. I remember, what was that? I remember how it used to go. I had to get off days. I had my own truck, right? When I was leased on the gas. My off days initially was Tuesday, Wednesday, then I rotate. Now I say rotate is I'm off Tuesday, Wednesday, and then next week, Wednesday, Thursday, next week, Thursday, Friday, and so on. So when that weekend come around, you'll be on that weekend schedule maybe 6 weeks just because of the way it's rotating, all that. And then you back during the week. But it's like, look, man, it's my truck though. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand I'm leased on to y'all and all that stuff, but they had company drivers as well. Like I understand as a company guy, you may feel like this is our schedule or whatever, but it's like they really didn't care, what you had going on. Like if you say, well, because you're not off on weekends, hey, I need this Saturday off because whatever, my kids are doing this, I got a football game, all that. And they say some what you just said, code words, well, how it works around here. That's what they're really saying. And it's like, and then I noticed they have no problem coming to you. Like I remember, check this out. Well, my days are rotate where I'm off Friday and Saturday. I'm getting a call Saturday morning. Hey, is there any way you can come in? You know what I'm saying? Like stores are running out. You know what I mean? We really could use your help and this and that. They want you to pat them on the back. And then when you need them, that's why I agree that it needs to be more like a partnership. Because if it's not a partnership kind of deal, because as a company guy, just have you working. We need each other, just straight up. Right. We us as the drivers, we need the work that you got to provide and pay for our family, bills and everything else to live life. But if we're not out there getting it done, you're gonna lose your customers.
Right.
Bottom line.
I got a couple questions for you too, though, man.
Let's get it.
When we get to it, do we got any other more questions that we got?
No, as we don't now. Cooley just threw in there. He said you realized quickly made a power moves when he said.
Yeah, bro, it didn't take long at all, man. I mean, like I said, 4 months. I was like, ugh. And then the thing about it, a lot of people told me, because I didn't know. So coming out of school, it was like, you got to drive for a company for a year and stay with that company. And then the doors will open up and, stay with at least drive for 2 years. Nobody's going to want to touch you. I proved all of them wrong, man. And like I said, in less than 5 months, I was owner operator and I saved every penny from the start of school all the way up till I got that Volvo. And then once I got that Volvo, I saved every dime, man, because I was in a good position to save. And then I went and bought my truck cash and I came into the game, with some decent bread. But I learned real quick, man. I really did. But speaking of that, man, getting to the questions, Lean, is on the authority side. So do you feel like it's important to have, because I want to kind of stick on the authority stuff, right? So is it important to have a weekly number that you're trying to hit for operating in general?
You said
like,
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Because I would say like in my case, I always had, even when I was running with Landstar, I said, okay, I need XYZ a week for my expenses.
Right.
How's that play out? Do you have a system like that? Does that play out for you under your own authority for you? Or do you just
Absolutely.
go out there and just spin the wheels and say, we're going to see what we do this week?
Nah, I ain't rocking that way. I feel like that's how you crash and burn, personally speaking, to be real. I'm not saying you can't make it that way, but look,
now we digging the juice out.
I would say this. I know some people, and just on I won't throw nobody out there. I know some people that do that willy-nilly system. Like they don't got a number. They just be like, what we're gonna go do, we'll do this week. Then we're gonna regroup and then we're gonna go do it again next week. But let me tell you the problem with that. The problem with that is these same individuals, what they do is they may say make 2,500 this week, right? And they be like, okay, that's good, so I can pay my bills, this is and that. And then this next week make 4,500. Now they saying, yeah, now go get them Louis Vuitton shoes I've been waiting for. You know what I'm saying? I can go. So it's like there's no system. And then I've seen them run into problems to where now they like, I've literally heard, yeah, man, I don't think I can pay my truck note because truck note, you know what I'm saying, is up there. You know what I mean? I don't know if I can pay my truck note, man, because it's and that. I'm sitting here thinking, well, dang. I mean, you got that.
Yeah, just got that Louis Vuitton.
You got the Yeah. You can't get the LVs, man, and then do that. So now to answer your question, no, I got a system. So for me, when I first started out just locally, I said for my numbers, this is basically how I did mine. I remember Nevada. I don't know if he's still in here, but I remember Nevada asked me. I forgot how he asked me about how do I calculate like down to the mile, or I forgot what it was. I don't really do my expenses and stuff that way. So what I do is I knew how much it costs. Like I included truck parking. That was like at the time $150. Diesel roughly because I knew I was staying relatively local. So I had an idea that I was going to be spending. I forgot at that time, man, but let's just say it was like $700 a week because I had a daycare, remember? So it was better and stuff. But basically what I was doing was I was calculating all my expenses. Now, my living expenses too. It's not just business. My living expenses. So I would calculate all that. And then I also would throw in how much I wanted to save. And that went two different ways. Number one was personal. Like how much money, because I love taking trips and doing vacations. I don't really talk about it a lot. I don't post it when I'm gone. But like this year I went like to 3 different places and supposed to go somewhere again in October. To do that, you got to take that time off because man don't work, man don't eat. The wheels ain't spinning, you ain't getting paid unless you got somebody else doing some other things. So anyway, I calculated that, the personal, and then the business. You still got what happens if your truck break down. What happens not only if your truck break down as far as it may cost you $1,500 to get it fixed, and you may be out 2 days. Those two things matter. It's one thing that some cost you $1,500, but you can still work. You know what I'm saying? So those numbers I made up artificial numbers on the part where if this happens, that happens, that happens. That gave me a number. At that time, I needed 700. I think 750. Bottom it's 750 because I wanted to gross $3,500 a week at that time for me to feel comfortable with all the expenses that I had. And that was then. Now just it really hadn't changed much. You know what I'm saying? Give or take. But because I'm trying to do other things, that may go up a little bit and it may go down. So it just depends what I end up doing. But yeah, so that's the answer to mine though. No willy-nilly. You have a plan. See. You have a plan to see. Use the same system. What you talking about there, Cool? You talking about what we're talking about?
Yeah. Preach in the building, huh? Preach in the building. But yeah, absolutely. Wow. And see what I do. Again, I had the same similar system when I was at Landstar. I really haven't changed that. I know what I need to bring in every week, period, to hit a certain number. I actually created, if anybody's interested, not that I'm selling anything, but I've created a actual algorithm form through Excel. And I mean, once I put anything in it, it'll tell me the rate per mile, what I'm going to pay in fuel, deadhead, how long it's going to take me to get there. Like it's all, cut and dry. I'm going to just show that on the channel anyway, because I think that'd be cool to see.
Real talk, you ain't even told me about this. I'm over here hating.
Yeah, I created this actually about a year ago, man. And I sent it to my buddy and let him test it out. And he loves it. He's like, damn, man, I ain't got to think about nothing, because it's you can kind of like, tailor it to how you like it. But all that to say this, I know I need a certain amount of money to operate. My truck's paid for, my trailer's paid for, so I don't really have a whole lot of other bills outside of that. But because I don't, doesn't mean I'm foolish about how I'm living outside of the business, if you will. So what I do is I take that number and I say, okay, this is what I need. I gave myself a salary that I want to make every week. My salary is a minimum of $1,000 a week, right? Minimum that I pay myself. Now, I've been making more than that because I've been hitting my numbers or better. You see? Oh, yeah, same system I did at Landstar. Exactly. So I had, kept paying myself that $1,000, right? And then some weeks is $1,500, some weeks it's $2,000. Some weeks it's more or less. But if the business didn't make enough to pay me that $1,000, I didn't take it. I didn't take that $1,000. In the beginning. And I started that, like I said, at Landstar, and I will share this with you guys. I was so effective at it when I had first started at Landstar. I was able to take off 2 months and pay myself my $1,000 every week that I was off.
Wow.
You see, now, and this is before I got to this. This was like back in like November, like a past of last year. And I didn't know because one day I was sitting there, it was around Thanksgiving time, and I was like, let me look in the account and see, because I wanted to go see my mom. And I said, holy cow, I could actually pay myself for the next 8 weeks and not have to drive at all, And that's when I realized how effective the system was for me that I was using. Now, mind you, that money was the money to pay me. That was not the money to operate the business. The business still had its own, because I had a petty cash account. Like I personally, I'll give you all the nuggets how I do this stuff. I had a petty cash account. I have an operating account. I have a tax account. I have a business profit account, right? And then what I do is every week, once that money come in, I pop the laptop open and I physically transfer each in. The account's nicknames are actually the percentage that has to go into each account. So this one might be 1%, this might be 15%. That way I don't have to think about it. Instead of looking at the number, oh, this needs to go here, bam. And I would do that, every week. And then before you know it, man, you got 20 grand in the operating account, you got 15 grand in the profit account. And then what I would do is every 3 months, I would take 40% out of that to pay myself a bonus as a benefit, because I'm the first shareholder of the business. So I would pay that out, and that's tax deductible. But nonetheless, that was my system, and I said, well, why change the system? Because the only thing I really incurred was the high insurance. And that's kind of the reason I was able to really weather that, that way. And I think that I asked you that because I think that's another thing that guys don't think that about managing that money, that authority money, because like you said, there's a whole different animal, and we really have to be on top of it. Because like you said before, remember when we first had this conversation a while back, and you were like, the difference between you and me is everything's on me. I could call Landstar and say, now, we got to revisit that now. we gotta revisit that now. So now it's like it really forces you to kind of be. But I say that to say I respect you more and I understand it a lot more because anything can happen, man. And now it's like it's really this. Yeah, I see it. I can't. So.
Yeah.
I think you really gotta have that system, bro. Like you really have. We can all get out here and spin the wheels and run, and we can do that all day long. But I don't think we're really educated enough to. And when I say we educated, I mean we're not. A lot of drivers are not being educated enough. Like you say, talk about the good and you talk about the bad. I don't think we're being enough to really know what it make it because what normally makes or break most of us is not having that that cushion or having that money to keep the business going. That's usually what makes people fail because they have something catastrophic happen and they wasn't expecting that, and it's like it don't matter if you got a paid off truck, but you got a $10,000 repair you can't afford, you see. So I think that's why all that what you said earlier plays into that, making those small transitions and learning and really taking that time to learn. Because man, I mean, I'm gonna tell you, I kind of had an anxiety attack when I realized that I might actually have to buy a trailer because I came out like I'm a rent. I had it planned out. I was like, okay, I'm probably gonna need about 3 bands down because they were talking about 2,500 down and like $300-400 a month. I can handle that. And then it went from that to you might need about 15,000 to buy. Oh yeah, for a dry. Oh yeah, and they're selling that. They're selling dries like that for right now, 2005s and 2096. I just seen a 96 on the market for 13,000. So again, this was just a thought I didn't think about starting the authority. I had plans on that $2,500 and renting for a stack a month, and I ended up went for that. And remember, this is the second trailer I bought. So the first trailer I paid 10 grand for, and then turned around to sell it. You know what I'm saying? And then just bought this trailer.
I didn't know the first one.
I ended up selling it, man. A guy I knew in Orlando needed a lift gate, so I wasn't using it. I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and buy me another one. But I waited till I got my other one, and then I sold it to him.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I ended up getting rid of that one. But yeah, I had to buy it, man. I mean, I had to, but I wasn't expecting that cost, And like when I was talking to Cooley. When Cooley was talking, we were talking about that, about the trailers. It was like, Cooley was like, yeah, you could find some reefers around, 5, 6. And I was like, okay, for reefer, I thought that was really good. But for a dry, 18,000, 19,000, 20, they cost them more than the reefers. And I was like, well, I might have to run the reefer, and just kind of do both with it. But again, that money management, man, yeah.
I'll say this and then I'm gonna touch on something else. I was in our HT Logistics Live yesterday, and that's what he talks about. I don't know if you know who he is, but that brother, he talks about, he's like in truck paper all the time. You know what I mean? Like he's an auction guy. He in truck paper where he'll just go buy it if you want to negotiate cash, whatever. And he said that the amount right now, you basically should sit on your money. You know what I'm saying? Because things are overinflated. You know what I mean? So yeah, I know what you're talking about. And
very true.
I want to throw this in too, though. This why everything he just said and what we just talked about is also why you guys, all of us, need to take our credit more seriously as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got to get into it. because like my motor went out in my day cab. The liners, it was leaking through the liners. Is what happened. And it when I say call me off guard, see that's what what you were saying. I was telling you that when you with a company, you go ahead and be like, hey, yeah, they said it's gonna run me so and so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, when you under your own authority, ain't nobody. You got to figure this out. And so on my end, what ended up happening was it turned out to be because it was That day car was 2007. It was a Detroit 14 liter, and it was leaking through the lines. I had 500 and I think 60,000 miles on it. That's why when I say unexpected, it was unexpected, and it ran me. It was very low comparatively speaking.
I remember you talking about this.
Yeah, it ran me $9,000, $9400. But I'm saying, if you don't got that cash, then what you gonna do? I personally put on a credit card, right? Because I got business credit cards, but that's where your credit come in handy. Yeah. Like at somewhere you gotta have a backup. Okay, this the point I'm really trying to get by. Yeah. You got to have a cash backup, your credit backup, a bank, your bank, somebody you can hit up. Preferably you have all of them, all three of them. But what I'm saying is you're gonna have to have a backup or you're gonna run out of business. I've seen this happen. Now I'm not making this up. I know a couple people that literally got out here with their own authority and went belly up because it was a DPF filter went out on one of them that was $4,000. They just didn't have the $4,000. You know what I mean? They couldn't call on nobody. Like, well, you gonna get it. Don't got good credit. You can't just.
And that's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary to think you go out, you invest so much, and then to go out for $5,000 and $4,000 that's a scary tactic. But I'm glad you said that, man, because you can always leverage your credit, and that's one reason I've got so good with my money, because there was a time where I couldn't, and I had to be the cash guy, and ironically now I really don't use my credit as much, but man, that's real. It's real talk right there, bro. That's real talk, man. Yeah.
Let me put it back up here. I don't want Nevada to think we're ignoring them. I ain't want to just cut off in the middle of that.
We was gone for a minute. I know I was.
Yeah, no, we was good. Yeah, I was just that. I just feel like that need to be talked about more. Is the credit thing, because a lot of people, man, a lot of us, when I first started, I'm talking about no truck, no nothing, right? I had 8,500 to my name, right? When I first got my truck, 85, and I ain't got the truck. I still got to put the money down on the truck. So there was no getting the truck ready. There was none of that. It was gonna be that's what I got, and hey, I need to be able to get about 4-5 checks so I can have something. Like I couldn't have a $4,000 problem. Now, truth be told, I would have been okay there only because it was company backed up. You know what I'm saying? They was gonna let me bid, but that still was a scary place to be in.
Right.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's a lot of guys and girls, because it's women who do this too, but it's a lot of us who come out who want to have our own truck and all that stuff, and we don't got any capital. And that's what I'm saying. I did it. I'm not saying that you can't do it. What I am saying is make sure you got your credit in order. That's something you can do now. You can work on your credit now. You can fix it yourself now. You go to Credit Karma, they'll tell you, hey, you need to pay this off or keep this up and you increase your credit score. So, but before I get more into that, let's answer this question. Nevada, I don't. Well, actually, yes, I did. I started this year. I was finna say I don't because I haven't been in my first 4 years, and I didn't do it. When I said first 4 years, I was talking about my own authority, and I never did it when I was leased on. But I did start this year, and on top of that, you have to. I don't know if we talked about this. Let me bring this up. What is it? I don't want to misspeak on the W-9. I don't know if it's a W-9 or if it's basically taxed as a corporation. It's an S corp. Cooley in here say something, because I know Cooley just went through this, and it was funny because I'm like, he had just learned it. And I'm like, oh, I knew about that a year or so ago, but we just hadn't talked about it. But I changed the way I was taxed, so I'm no longer taxed as a sole prop. When you change the way you're taxed, I've been an LLC. When you change the way you tax, you fill out form, I think it's 2553,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you change that, and so you were being taxed differently. So basically, what you're doing is you're saving your money. So you got some as a sole prop called double taxation. Okay, so when If you don't change the way you're taxed and you stay sole prop, you're gonna get double taxed. And I believe, don't hold me to this part. Everything I said I know is right, but this part that you need to do that to officially be to have yourself as a W-2. That's what I was trying to get at. So mine's official now. I'm a W-2 employee of my business. You go and answer the question, brother.
No, I'm gonna have to skip on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to skip on that one.
Okay.
I'm running it as that, but I'm just actually in the process of changing now because again I'm new, so I'm in the process of changing. So I can't really answer it. I've been structuring it like that since I was with Landstar. If you break down the accounts and things like the way I was saving and calculating, again with that algorithm I told you I created, will let me know what I need for each taxation period. But now I'm in the process of doing exactly what you said you're doing and Cooley doing. So I need to actually reach out to you about that.
Okay.
Because I got to do that form, and I'm hearing different things about that. So we'll save that for.
We'll definitely talk about it because it's real simple. It is. It's really simple.
Wow. Let's see.
Hey, you can get it done. Check this out. The CPA I use, I got a different CPA now. The CPA I used, he told me, I didn't know him. I just went in. I did some YouTube homework. All right? So that's when I was learning about this. So I just went to the closest one. You know what I'm saying? With the closest one, I went in there and he said, I asked him about it. Hey, what's going on? DIY semi. Thanks for dropping in. Anybody y'all new in here, drop in, subscribe to myself, All About Semis here. I'll put his link in there somewhere earlier. And hit the like button. Appreciate y'all. And but yeah, he told me about this and he broke it down. He had this little old tree and these branches, right? Like, double taxation. If you get over here, then you don't have to pay this as a company, all this other stuff. So he said, this is what you need. And it was, I think it was Form 2553. Here was the kicker. This I knew was easy. He said, either you can pay me to do it, it's gonna be $100, or because it's for my time, I can do it. He said, or you can just go home, fill it out, and email it to me before you send it off, and I'll just tell you if you did it right or wrong and just correct it there. That's how you know it's easy if he said just go home and do this. It was one sheet. It's one sheet. That's it.
Yeah, and I saw the form as people talking about. I heard somebody talking about you gotta get a lawyer to look at it and do all this crazy. I was like, nah. That's why I said I'm gonna hit you up.
I got it. I know I do. I got it on in my record, so I can just be like, look, here right here, bro. Just put your information right here, and I met it to the IRS, and then they approved it. Now the thing is though, like if you actually did it right now, just so you know. And they approve it, you can't file your taxes with until like that next year.
Right.
Just want to make sure I throw that out. And and as Nevada said, S corp election, correct. So you can be an LLC but be taxed as an S corp.
Yep. See, I've read all that, and
tax breaks. Preacher. Yep, I was just talking about that today, being an S corp for my trucking company. Yes, and man, look. I'm gonna say this, preacher. I was actually, so I be just getting a little bothered by little things, right? Like when I was growing, when I say little things, I don't get bothered by little things, but I'm saying something like this because no one talks about it. Well, I never hear people talk. I say that it's like we talk about a bunch of different things. Like this is a big money making segment. Things why nobody talking about that. Like this is a big deal. I didn't hear about that until. I think it was the first time I ever heard it was 2018. Now, I've been having my truck for 5 years at that point. I got my LLC in 2014. And then, like, it took me 4 years to even hear about this. And I'm like, I've been paying all this money, these taxes. Now, I know, I ain't going to get too deep. I know some people just kind of, I'm just going to say zero out and I'm going to move on from there. But I'm just saying. Cash is king. What's going on, man? Hey, now, what's going on? It's good to see you in here. Good to see you. Let me see. Do I cash good things to come in prayers? Look at you. I agree with that, Nevada. That's what happened. Nevada, I've done it. CPA advice is advised. It's not for everyone, but you make as a S corp election start payroll, but talk to your CPA. I agree with that 100%. It seemed like my understanding when the initial guy was talking to me about it, because I was already done with the CPA I got now. The initial guy was talking about it. He was saying that to me, he didn't say that though. He was more like, nah, if it's just you, especially though if you want to, because at that time I was talking about putting my kids on the payroll. He's like, you definitely need to do it, But he recommended period because you get out of double taxation. Period. Put yourself on the payroll, and like the CPI I got now, he easy peasy, man. He only charging me, and I'm gonna say only because it's only to, in my opinion, it's the service. It's like $400 for the entire year to run my payroll. And I'm saying that because I've seen a DP or a PD, whatever, whatever, man. These payroll companies charge a whole lot of money just in a month. So for me, I say, hey, I'm gonna run that show and they ain't gotta worry about all that. I've structured as an S corp, me and my wife's salary $1K each. We get $1,700 net cost. Business $2,250 becomes a write-off. We get $1,700 cost. The business $2,250 becomes a write-off. I'm lost on that. You got that? I got what he's saying at first, of course.
I got the first part, but I didn't get the seven. He lost me at the second part too. 2250. I think what he's saying is the 2250 becomes a write-off because that was one of the things I read about the S corp about. It works out to be like the cost of like $2,000 or something a year for the depends on who you have filed it or something, and maybe that's the cost he's talking about becomes the write-off, the actual filing of the S corp taxes. But I could be wrong. He had to chime in on that one.
Yeah, you gotta let us know, Nevada. Got lost in there, but that $1K, that's one thing I did recommend for new owner operators as well. I had a video where I talked about keeping your salary, making your salary what you had been making before you became an owner operator. And I said that's what a lot of mistakes I've seen. I done it, by the way, because ain't had nobody tell me this. Where I went from I was netting, forget gross, because at this time I could talk about net because I was a company guy. I was netting a roughly $850, $900 a week, right? And then when I got my truck and I started grossing, like about how much was about at that time, because I was new to it and all the company, I think like $2,300, $2,400. I'm like, I don't know my income. Guess what? Yeah, I went out there and did the same. I'm not gonna call it dumb. I'm gonna call it immature. And start making some of the same decisions. I wasn't forward thinking enough to say, hey, one of these days that something gonna happen to your truck, bro. Like, it's not if, it's when. You gotta be prepared for that. $1,700 after star fed tax to business pays taxes, so it's $250 on top of the actual salary. Charges after star fed. You know what, Nevada, I'm still confused. You mind jumping on for a second? I don't know if you're driving. I don't know if you can. You're laying down. I don't know what you're doing. You mind jumping on for a little bit?
Star fed?
Unless you understand, explain it to me.
Business pays taxes, so it's $250 on top of the actual salary. Okay, the $250 wasn't $2,500. Remember, the other one was like $2,500.
Yeah.
So it's $250.
Ah. Okay. Yeah, that's slick, man. I like that. I like that. See, yeah. And you know what? And this is why, see that right there, that's great information. This is why CPAs do matter. Like, I didn't just think they did, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that everyone need them. I'm saying they matter because sometimes we got state laws. Like some people got to pay state taxes, some don't. It's a whole bunch. Let me see. Can I call you? You called me on the phone? I'm assuming you're on the phone. But yeah, state taxes. Let me answer. You go ahead. Well, I'm gonna ask you this, and I'm gonna text him and see what he was saying. What do outside, no, I ain't gonna say outside. I'm gonna let you answer how you want to answer. What is the some differences between Landstar that you notice and you have your own authority? Like, is there any eye-opening changes, like anything?
Yeah, it's a whole lot.
Go ahead and get into
I
it.
mean, for starters, again, there's not a whole lot of restrictions on anything. So on Landstar, I can't just get tired and park on the side of on the highway on the shoulder. You know, you can use your contract for that. They call that sitting duck policy.
Okay, so you just said it. So they will pull your contract if you,
unless you broke down and you pull over. You see all these trucks be parked on the shoulder on the highway or on the ramp at night.
Hello?
You can't do that at Landstar. You see, so if you
hold on real quick. You want me to put you on speakerphone? Well, let's see. He want to get on speakerphone. He wants to tell everybody, see if we can hear him.
All
right, go ahead.
All right, so sorry about the confusion. Voice to text sucks, first off.
It's all good.
Yeah, when I structured my business knowing I was going to become an owner-op, I was getting advice from the post trip. So he was able to explain it to me. So basically, I went to a CPA and I got, tax advice because everyone's situation is different. You don't want to do something that's going to obviously put you in a bad situation because then you lose the benefit of the S corporation. So when I pay me and my wife each $1,000 a week, right? That's a salary of $2,000 a week. Before we were making about $5,000 as company drivers a week.
Okay.
So you need to pay yourself a reasonable salary is what the IRS guidelines are, right? So $52,000 a year, that's the average for a truck driver in the United States, right? Roughly.
Right.
So we went with that number. You can always adjust this too. So like in six months of running or 3 months of running, I'll sit with my CPA and we're actually going to go over numbers and we're going to either lower it or raise it depending on what they figure on it. Because they're like, I like to use my CPA. I like to understand things. So dotting my I's and crossing my T's, that's what I like to use it for. But when I pay myself $2,000 salary out of my business account, right? And I'm set up as an LLC. I just make an S corp election, and I got payroll. It takes $2,000 out. It charges my business $2,250. Now, when I see that check hit my personal account, I only see about $1,700 because me as a W-2 employee of my own business has to pay state taxes, Social Security, federal. So that's where about $250 comes out on my personal side. I only get to see like $1,750 of it. And then the business has to pay taxes as well. So the business is paying another $250 on top of the $2,000 salary. So it costs the business $2,250 to pay me and my wife $1,000 salary. At the end of the year, when I go to write things off, as a W-2 employee of my company, I could actually see a return. But as the business, I'm writing that $2,225 off as an expense. That is a salary for my business to operate.
Got you. That actually cleared up a lot because I actually got to make a payment from a business as well. You just mentioned that it's actually delivery right now. I was supposed to have been looking at that earlier. See, that's what I meant when I took that structure of mine. Like I have my stuff. It's like I get caught up, and then before I know, I'll be like, like I actually put notes on my phone to go back. But sometimes what happens is I just forget to go back to them. But yeah, that makes sense, man. I appreciate you for clearing that up for us, and thank you for being real active too. Go ahead.
I'll add one more thing on this. So, when you start up a business account, right, you put money into it. That's your basis. So if I put $50,000 into my business account when I started, I cannot be taxed on $50,000. That's my basis. So at the end of the year, let's say there's $100,000 in my business account. Well, I pay taxes. I'm left over with 90, just for this example, right?
Okay.
Well, my new basis next year would be 90,000. At any point, I could take a draw out of my business account, 90,000 into my personal account, tax-free, because whatever my basis is it's already been taxed. You can't get double taxed on it. So as an individual, I could then go into my business account and pull out whatever the basis is. So if you've already paid taxes on something, it can't be taxed again.
That's something I didn't know.
So I started with 50, whatever the profit is minus taxes. That's my new basis next year when I file, and I can actually go in and take that out anytime as a draw. and there's a little bit of numbers game, and it gets a little confusing with that, with draws, but it's really not that simple, or it's really not that complicated.
Right.
I guess it's a matter of understanding it and actually sitting down with the CPA, making sure first off that you qualify and you're actually going to get the benefits of an S corporation. Because as an S corp, when you're doing the business and the payroll stuff, you have to file quarterly like you do as a sole prop for those taxes on that side. And the payroll company does all that for you. That's why it's the benefit of it. And I found a good payroll company for $80 a month. You just got to kind of negotiate the price.
You might have to get that information, man. I might need that.
Yeah, that was good, man. You know what, Nevada, you should start a YouTube channel. That's what I'm gonna tell you.
I actually sat down with my CPA and unedited just asked him a bunch of questions, and I did like an hour-long interview with my CPA setting up my S corp. It's kind of boring, but it's just kind of going through all the nitty-gritty, anything that I didn't understand going into it, and just structuring it. And so that might be of some interest for you, but definitely don't just go out there and try and do this yourself. Get your CPA on board, see if they work with a payroll company. It's kind of good to have people to kind of network together all in one corner. But it's definitely the route that was best for me and my wife. So anyways, I'm going to jump off the phone. I don't know how good the quality of me talking here is on your video. I don't mean to take anything away from your interview there, but I just wanted to clarify that.
Well, first of all, it's not an interview. We all chopping it up, and I appreciate the information. I really do, man. That was real solid. I appreciate it. Appreciate you for being active in the chat too, man. I really appreciate you. And I'm gonna catch up with you this week.
Right on. Just trying to add value.
Okay, appreciate it. So I'm gonna say this. That was great. I'm for real. That was good, man. For y'all who may not know, Nevada got a channel. Okay, he actually got a YouTube channel. I was just joking around when I said that. Got more subs than I do. He doing his thing, man. Very good informative channel. The guy knows his numbers. So not everybody know their numbers. That's what you was kind of talking about a while ago. He knows them and he shares them. He just put a video out a few days ago, him and his wife, the team they made, I think he was $11,300 last week, and he broke that down. So, if you guys kind of want that kind of detailed information, join, get over there and sub to the man channel. That was good. On to you. You was explaining the differences between the Landstar and
but they setting up policies, man. So I couldn't park on the side of the highway if I was tired. So if I couldn't find any parking, I had to keep going until I could find parking, and believe me, it'd be other drivers that will call on you because a lot of people don't know that. They ain't going to say, oh, it's a Landstar guy parked on the shoulder on the highway. They going, people that's calling is usually other drivers. But that don't have to deal with that anymore. One of the other things I don't have to deal with is time on my PC. They only give you like two hours of PC time. So now, I can use as much time as I need to use to get where I need to get. Safe haven, all right? We talk about breaking the law here, but safe haven, guys, because sometimes you need that time. I mean, you at a shipper and you run out of time, and the truck stop might be an hour away. You might have had to move the truck while you were waiting and might have used up 30 minutes trying to park or move or whatever, and now you only got 30 minutes, the truck stop away. Now you risk violation, and then it'll let you drive. But what'll happen is they'll call you and be like, hey, we see you went over blase amount of time. So it's a lot of those things. Again, don't have to deal with when they want me to get my truck inspected every 3 months, once a year, it's done. That's it. Maintenance reports. I don't have to do them when they want me to do them now. Once a year. It's a lot of things that I see that is different on that end, and there's no more. If you had a shipper and you got a complaint, or if I got detention, I don't need to go through them to fight to get my detention, or I'm depending on them to do what they need to do with the broker to get the monies that I'm owed, you know. So it eliminates a whole lot of that, which I used to actually go through a lot of that because there's always an issue with when it came to things like that. I had to go through Landstar first. And then here's the other thing. If I turned down a load that I didn't want to do and the broker wanted to lie about it, they could call Landstar customer service and say, okay, we want to make a complaint on this BCO. BCO is a business capacity owner, and say, hey, we don't like this guy, or whatever the case may be. And Landstar could call me and say, well, they said this and said that, you know, and then I got to defend this, you know. So it's a lot because now you're dealing with customer relations. And at the end of the day, their customers is the brokers in a sense, you know, because again, Landstar is a broker company. It's not a truck company. So it's a broker company that's trying to be a truck company or run it as a truck company and implementing trucking rules to truck drivers. So, you know, it's a lot of that stuff that I find the differences that I don't have to deal with anymore from being leased on with a company versus being on my own. And I can tell you so many times already, I done had to pull over on the highway and shut it down, you know. And it's a good thing not worrying about. And it took me a while to get used to it because I was so programmed. Like I'm trying to rest, man, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm on the side of the highway, and it, you know, I'm waiting for the phone to ring, you know. And then my original ELD is still in the truck too, so I'm not using that. I'm using Samsara now, which is the mobile one, but it's just weird trying to get used to that part of it. So yeah, those are some of the things, man. Again, just not having to deal with a lot of how you said earlier. Well, this is how we do things around here. You know, not having to deal with the contract rules, you know, and not all the contract rules are bad, but not having to deal with that, man. But yeah, and I know we're running up about almost 2 hours, man, and so I know we're gonna wrap this thing up soon.
We are.
One last nugget I want to give before I get up off of here is when we were talking about the paperwork and things like that, and keeping things in order for new authorities. One of the things that I did and that I learned and I found out that I really like is I've used cloud-based servers for everything. And that will take a lot of headache off of you. For you guys that don't know, I personally use Google Drive. I love Google Drive. I got my driver file folder there. I got the company insurance folder and certificate, motor carrier. I got my factoring folder there. I got everybody folder, and it's up there on the cloud. If I need it or if I scan something, boom, I can send it to each individual folder as I'm getting it. When I got my drug consortium that I just did the video on, I sent that up there. I got a folder for that. And, you know, because old school, we used to file everything, literally folders, and put them in file cabinets. And I do have hard files too, but I encourage using those cloud-based services to store that stuff. So when the audits come, and from what I've been hearing from people that are that's dealing with the newer versions of the audits, they're calling you or emailing you saying, "Hey, we need this, 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 and this." So it's a lot easier to be able to click on a folder and send the whole file, and you're done. You know, so that's how I've been setting things up these last 6 weeks or so, on my journey to being organized with that kind of stuff. Yep. But that's about it for that, man. Oh, you want to see that that Excel? Yeah, man. I will show you that, man. It took me a while to get that thing and make it. I'm trying to tell you, I was pulling my hair out, and I had to get with a couple of accountants to figure out some of the stuff to get the algorithms and the formulas to work right. But I will do that, man. I think what I'll do is I'll do it on my computer, because I think I got it set up where I can mirror the computer and do it. And like I said, anybody interested, I can get you guys that. But yeah, it's good, man. And
I got Excel, but yeah.
But this is all, like I said, already pre-done, and then you just put it in there and you'll see, and it's real time. So like, I guess we got a few minutes to talk about this now, but it's real time, and the way I have it structured, if, let's say, remember I used to have a dispatching company. Well, I still have that put in there. So if I hire somebody to dispatch, you just pretty much put the percentage that you're paying them or you're not paying them. If you're leased on, so guys that are leased on and you got a percentage you paying your carriers, all you got to do is put the percent that you pay in the carrier. It'll calculate everything for you. It'll tell you what your week gross is, and there you can do as many loads as you want. I think I have it set for like 6 loads. Nobody ain't really running 6 loads unless you're local, but you put them in. As you put it in, it'll tell you how much fuel you need to get there, how long it's going to take you to get there. It's going to tell you how much fuel that it's going to cost you to go there, and your deadhead fuel cost separately. So you can see, man, I'm about to spend $40 in fuel just to go here. You can see that right there, right away. On the end, you can see your weekly, how much you spent in fuel. I have mine set to see how much I'm going to make after every load, what my pay is going to be after the company's cut and taxes and stuff out. So it's just literally, a bunch of entering your information, and you can obviously adjust your truck mileage. I think I have mine set at 5.5 because that's usually the normal go around minimum that everybody uses, 5 miles to the gallon. But if you want to be a little bit more precise, you can do that. And I'll post it, but I will do that. I will work on that going out this next week. So I'm leaving tomorrow. So it might be about a week or so before I can get that video out, and I will post it and let you guys see and let me know what you guys think about it. But that's what I've been using to kind of help me get to this point, because it's good to know what you need to, what you need to save when you don't know what you need to save. So, because some people don't know, and they're like, okay, well, I made this, and it's okay to take that, or it's okay to, some people need that. And I think, and that was one of the reasons I did it, because at that time, like I shared in the beginning, I didn't know, like I was super fresh. So I was like, I'm on the phone with brokers and I'm booking loads, and I'm not even thinking about what is actually costing me to go get their loads. So they're like, oh yeah, we'll give it to you. Yeah, you gonna do it for that, and it's like, I'm like, no, I need to really see this. Oh, it's gonna take me 4 hours to get here. It's gonna cost me this much in fuel, because I wasn't even thinking about deadhead at the time. So I remember there was a time when they was like, what's deadhead?
Y'all gotta learn.
I'm keeping it 100,
Yes,
so it was like, what you mean deadhead? Oh, that's what you're driving empty. Oh, I just say what you empty, But these were the things that made me create those things, man. And yeah, man. So we got to really keep putting these videos out and educating each other, man. And I think that's what the start is, and that's why we do it, man. Like you said, I'm still learning. I learned a whole lot just a minute ago from Nevada. So,
yes.
We all need this. So this is not we're none of us is never to a point where we're so here that we don't know, or we don't need to know nothing. So I'll be the first to admit, yep, I need what I need. What's your fuel cost per mile? My fuel cost per mile for my truck is basically, well, I think the more appropriate question is what it costs me to run my truck per mile. And to run my truck per mile is actually relatively cheap. It's, believe it or not, I could break even at about 62 cents. That's what it will cost me. Now, would I run my truck for that? No. And I say it's 62 cents because I don't have a payment, right? I don't factor the insurance and stuff in. I factor that as a business expense. Now, I know that you run the truck per mile to acquire what your operating cost is. But again, I have a different formula for that. Some people factor in their cell phone. Oh, I got $100 what I need to eat, and they put that in their actual rate per mile for operating. I don't do that. I literally put in what it costs me. If it's a truck payment, my truck payment, and my fuel. So if a gallon of fuel, as we say right now, roughly $3.55 a gallon, I do that gallon and then the payment of the truck. The other stuff I'll factor in later, and then that's when I start getting, well, I need $2 minimum, or I need $3 to cover everything else. So my fuel cost for the truck per mile is somewhere in the ballpark about 62 cents to actually run that truck. Yeah.
Yeah, look, let me say this, man. I learned from you. I learned from Nevada, and this is what I plan on doing with my lives. You know, I'm gonna do it same time every Sunday at 5 Central Time. So y'all just lock it in. That's my intent, and it's gonna be like all over the place in a good way. You know what I mean? Like that stuff y'all said. I want to do. I'm going to one of these lives. Is going to be about the pay per mile system.
Yeah,
You know?
I think we should do definitely a business operating, nothing but business operating, man. You know,
if I do that, I'm gonna ask you, Nevada. I think Cash is King is he's very thorough with numbers. I'm gonna ask y'all because I'm not as thorough.
Really, 63 cents per hour. I hear you, Lean. I'm looking at what he wrote.
Go ahead. What did he say?
I'm surprised how close he was to my numbers. He said he using the one that fuel costs at 63 cents a mile, but I had to fuel tank to start. Think that affected that number. But I got 2 fuel tanks too, so I think you probably still closed on because that's what I'm basing mine off, about two fuel tanks. But that don't matter. It's your mileage. It's your per miles that you're getting per gallon. Fuel tanks really don't have anything to do with it, I would imagine, unless I'm not reading what you wrote right.
No, and then he said affected. He corrected that part.
Okay.
He is, I think what he was saying on the phone too is he's talking to us through voice activated. Because I'm assuming he's probably driving, or whether he's driving to just making it easier, more convenient.
Yeah.
But
hold on, man, we should definitely do that. Okay, new truck came out with empty tanks. Okay, I got it. It makes sense.
Yeah, so for me, it's all about that, man. I want it to be like this to me. That's why I told Nevada, like, nah, I won't say interview. You know what I mean? I want it to be more conversational. We all just out here talking, learning, chopping it up, and that's the thing. Like, I'm learning from y'all. Like, just honestly, that per mile, that I didn't even answer that question. Like when you said 62 cents, I'm like, man, that sounds real low. You know what I'm saying, in my brain. But I am one of those people, though. As you said, I said earlier, I include all of that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm not a like, I know it's been. I think a partner of mine told me some years back this whole $2 per mile is like outdated. It's been something that we've been following. Something that started in the 70s or something.
And I really think that's a misconception when guys include everything.
Okay. Well, hold on real quick before you get to that. Hit the like button, y'all, and subscribe. This is why, though. This is valuable information. You know what I'm saying? It's fun. I enjoy doing it. You know what I mean? But still, it's still our time. So y'all chopping it with us, and thank y'all for spending y'all time with us. Don't forget to subscribe to All About Semis. He been rocking with us for 2 hours. I just want to throw that out there, and go ahead and finish the point, man.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, I think that, it's okay to a degree to start like that to start with, but when we're talking about knowing what it actually costs to run the truck, we need to know that cost, because it's a difference between knowing what you need to run the truck and knowing what you need to actually stay in business, right? Mm-hmm. The goal is to stay in business, of course, but you need to know your minimum rate when you start booking that freight. If you're going to book freight and you're like, I need this $3 or this $2.80 or whatever it is, in all reality, your bare minimum is 63 cents, and you're selling yourself short on the freight that you're booking because you're thinking that you really need something that you don't. I'm not saying that you run cheap freight, because we all against that. I'm totally against running cheap freight, but I think that you should know the minimum of what it costs to literally run that truck, from this mile point to that mile point.
Okay.
And then it's easier to build upon that once you know. It's so much easier to build, and it'll be a lot more accurate for you because you know how much you need to, again, run at your bare minimum. So like me, when I start seeing $80s and $2, I'm happy. The guy's like, man, it's $80, but they don't understand that's 100% profit for me. I'm at that dollar. I'm above my threshold. You see what I'm saying? So if I'm running at $1.80, it's not hurting me. Where somebody else like, man, I ain't even looking at $1.80, or $1.60. Now I'm not gonna run too much lower than $1.80, but I could, and hypothetically, I could run $1.80 and do a $3,000 load at $1.80 versus somebody else that do that same load for $1.80 at $3,000 and don't make anything. You see, because when they factor in, okay, well, I got this payment, I got this, I got that, I really didn't make nothing, I got to pay taxes. That's how, that's the importance of that, which is why I asked you about how your number. Do you come out and you just spin the wheels, or do you say, hey, I know I need this? For me, I know I say, hey, my bare minimum. I'll tell you guys my number. I tried my number is $6,000 gross. That's my number for every week. For week, that's my number every week. Sir,
you saying that's how much you need?
Yeah, that's my number that I go after every week.
Okay,
it's $6,000. And if I do over that, I'm good. But if I do 445, I'm not going to cry, but I know what my pay is going to be. Okay. I know for me to be. But let me say this: when I was with Landstar, I needed to be 6 or 7, right, for me to make what I wanted to make. Now that I'm not with Landstar, 6 is more than enough, because now I could be really running at $4,000, or you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because so that's how that played out for me. How much grows Landstar per year in 40 weeks?
But before you answer that, yeah. Appreciate you, Sunwater Flows, for tapping in. Y'all hit the like button as y'all come in. We about to get out of here in a little bit because my man, both of us got to go to work in the morning.
man, I gotta eat. But
me too. I gotta eat too. Fat boy gotta eat over here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You gotta keep it lean, right?
And I still gotta eat though, y'all.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, to answer that, I could tell you this. 6 months. My first 6 months with Landstar, I had only ran like 6 months, and I did $90,000. So that was
it's not bad, man.
That was my first, and I had only ran like 6 months. And this year, I think I was in the ballpark of and out of that, and I did a video on it. That's why I said I ain't worried about it. So Landstar getting $35,000 per 100. Well, I can tell you this. So out of that 90, out of that 6 months, it was I did a video on it, and I said I ended up giving them like $25,000, $28,000 out of that. And then I had to pay all the fees and taxes and all that old knick-knack bull crap out of that. Mm-hmm. So it was somewhere, I'm 60-ish, a little under maybe, out of that 6 months. Now, in this year, I didn't run as hard, but I know I was close to like $70,000 before I left. But yeah, they're getting about $30,000 per it's a close number, it's a close number. You got to figure, they're 35%. So 35K, if you make 100, they're getting that 35K, believe it. Or pretty close to it. Absolutely. I'm not knocking it. It's still good if that's a comfortable median for you, if you're running like that. my thing is, if I'm going to run like that, I can't get that much money away. I just can't do it. Not the way I was running. And I was running, you know, it wasn't like I was, and when I say running, I'm going all over the place. You know, I'm going North Dakota, Washington, damn near to Canada, and all these places. And if I'm gonna run, so if I'm gonna run like that, I can't get nobody no 35K, man. Come on now. I can't do that. You know what I mean? I can't do that, man. You know, I can't do that, bro. I had to wake up from that one. So, you know, if I was a little local guy and I was bringing home 80 grand every night, I might have to bite my tongue. Like, you know what, I'm doing 80, I'm home every night. But now I've actually made myself run a lot easier. Like I said, if I did one load last week, it paid $5,400. And I took home probably about, because I did that one load and then I did another load. So it ended up being $7,000. But out of that $7,000, I took home 62. That was huge. And I worked, it wasn't even a whole week. So I'm not working. That again, to add to your question too, that's another benefit that I'm seeing of working, not being leased on, because now if I want to go out and do one load for $3,000 and come home, guess what? I can do that and actually have $3,000. If I do that with Landstar, I might come home with 18, 17, you know, maybe, you know. So that's huge for me, you know, to be able to do that. But yeah, man.
Yeah, RLC TV, you like that? That's another guy I want to get on to. Nevada, I already know. I talked to Nevada. I want to get Nevada on. Actually, him and his wife. I want to RLC. I ain't talked to you yet. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, in the future, man. Thanks for checking in. Yeah, I'm gonna want to get you on. I was listening to you. You know, when you was Dirty Broke this morning, you dropped that little jewel about. Now I don't know if that was specific to that guy. He dropped this jewel about this guy had a mortgage. And he was telling him how he can pay for 15 years by if he had an additional $40 a day. Right?
Wow.
He said if you got that's what I said, right? He said if now again RLC, if that was pertaining specific to his number, roughly they just went on 300,000 is what he owed. Right. So I don't know if it was pertaining to the guy or it was pertaining to just in general. But he said if you can pay an additional $40, afford to pay an additional $40 a day to your principal, you would knock it out in 15 years.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I want to use this platform for is okay. So it's based on the number because he said here's is $25 a day. So on my end, like I'm gonna hit you up on that for real though. Like I want to know, I want to understand that formula and where it came from. You
can supply that to so many different things.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's so on my end, that's what I want to use my platform for. You know, of course, I want to do my health and fitness and stuff like that, but life too, because we still living life. You know what I mean? So I want to get an RLC on to drop some of those kind of jewels like that. Y'all subscribe to RLC TV if y'all haven't. He talk a lot of life stuff on top of like that right there. Everybody different. Just guessing here. Okay. That was just valuable information that we all out here. That's life stuff. He talks local trucking. You know, that everybody's OTR. You know, he help people find local jobs and stuff like that too. But like he dropped a lot of life jewels. So but yeah, I want to do sub to the channel, y'all, if y'all new, because I want to bring a lot of different stuff. At some point, I'm gonna talk mental health. I'm gonna talk to some females on and tell us how it is being out here in this and the other side that we don't really quite understand their end of it, you know. And I'm even willing to do what you said, you know, bring you back in and Dada and like I say, Cash is King if you were to jump on and get on that those numbers things, you know what I'm saying, where y'all guys are really, you know, in on it. So you got any closing remarks though, bro? So we can go and let you get to your food and all that.
Nah, man. Like I said, I appreciate everybody for that joined and that rocked with us this long and you know, listen to us and you know, that support our channels and those that have subscribed to me and from Lean. I appreciate you guys and tell it to you first if I haven't. And yeah, thanks for coming out. Like my boy Russell Simmons say, God bless and good night. And I'll see you on the next one.
Well, you know, I'm gonna do like Lean Trucker say. You know what I'm saying?
Keep it in mind.
You know what I'm saying?
One day at a time. I want to chop it up. Hold on. Keep it in mind.
Go ahead. One
day at a time. Stay on the grind. It's your boy Lean Trucker back with another.
you butchered a little bit, but I appreciate it though. I love it.
I'm learning it.
Hey y'all, you know, just on my end, if y'all want to support me in any way, I do have a website, theleantrucker.com. You know, it's in the description. Everything else, you can get these. You know, the workout shirts or just regular t-shirts in any color you like. Every color is not on the website, which I'm gonna work on that. But you can get a white and red, you know, whatever you want. Same thing with the hats and whatever. But I'm gonna do mine. I appreciate everybody. I'm there. Appreciate everybody for tuning in on this Sunday, because you know you could have just been watching TV. You know what I mean? You could have been doing whatever you're doing, running errands. We appreciate you for you know, jumping in and blessing us with y'all time as well. Special thanks to Nevada. You was very thoroughly in here. Appreciate you. Here we go. This is what Lean Trucker say. Keep it in mind. Stay on the grind. One day at a time. Salute. All right, bro. Appreciate you, man. You enjoy the rest. I'll catch up with you this week.
Yes, sir. Peace.
All right.